What if I told you a film could be so quietly powerful that, years after release, people still argue about what every glance means? And now, it's being positioned as one of the most influential Chinese films of the 21st century. Not popular for a moment, not trending for a week. Influential. The kind of word that usually gets reserved for films that reshape careers, and sometimes reshape a generation's idea of cinema. Today, on StarWatch Now, we're diving into why Nameless, the spy thriller starring Leung and Wang Yibo, is suddenly back in the spotlight, and why this nomination matters far beyond one awards list. The internet doesn't rally around a film simply because it has a nomination attached to it. It rallies because something in the story feels unfinished in the mind, like a sentence you keep rereading because the meaning shifts each time. Nameless invites that kind of response. It doesn't ask viewers to clap. It asks them to listen closely, even when the film is quiet. And in a digital world built on noise, quiet intensity can feel almost rebellious. What travels fastest online is not the plot summary. It is the feeling of a moment, a glance that carries regret, a pause that suggests danger, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Viewers clip those moments, replay them, argue over them, and, without realizing it, turn the character into a shared language. That is why discussion spreads across platforms. People are not just reacting to what happened, they are trying to interpret what it meant. There is also a deeper emotional hook. The film's atmosphere of duty, secrecy, and personal cost mirrors a modern anxiety many people recognize, how it feels to carry responsibility without being able to speak freely about it. In that sense, Nameless doesn't only tell a story set in history, it reflects the private tension of everyday life, the mask we wear, the words we swallow, the loyalty we choose, and the grief we hide. That emotional recognizability is why the internet cares. It feels personal without being explicit and profound without being preachy. What makes Nameless especially conversation-worthy is how naturally it crosses borders, not by simplifying itself, but by trusting audiences everywhere to engage with complexity. International viewers may not share the same historical context, yet they recognize the emotional grammar, power shifts, coded language, moral compromise, and the quiet terror of never knowing who is truly on your side. For American and Canadian audiences, the appeal can echo classic espionage cinema. The sense that every dialogue line is a test, every courtesy potentially a trap. For viewers in Japan and South Korea, where understated acting and emotional restraint are often deeply appreciated, the film's controlled performances can land with particular force. For audiences across Australia and Europe, the auteur style, visual tension, deliberate pacing, ambiguity, can feel closer to festival cinema than mainstream spectacle, making it the kind of work people recommend with a serious tone. You have to watch it properly. This matters because influence is rarely local anymore. Today, influence is measured by whether a film can be read through multiple cultural lenses without losing its integrity. Nameless offers different entry points. Story for those who want plot, atmosphere for those who want mood, craft for those who watch performance closely, and symbolism for those who enjoy interpretation. That is why the nomination resonates internationally. It isn't simply a domestic accolade traveling outward. It is a signal that the film has become a shared reference point, one that diverse audiences can debate, appreciate, and revisit, each finding a different truth inside the same frames. In an era when audiences are increasingly skeptical of manufactured narratives, the most persuasive form of hype is craft. Not publicity, not slogans, craft. The kind of detail that suggests the work was earned the hard way, through repetition, discipline, and choices that could have failed if the performer lacked control. That is why the behind-the-scenes dimension of Nameless travels so well. Viewers are drawn to stories of preparation because they restore a sense of fairness. Talent matters, effort matters, and excellence leaves fingerprints. When people hear that a performance involved navigating multiple languages in a believable way, or that the actor rehearsed relentlessly to match a director's shifting demands, they are not just impressed, they feel reassured. It confirms that what they admired on screen is not an illusion, created purely by editing. Craft stories also give audiences a way to participate. They can rewatch scenes with a new focus, the precision of timing, the control of breath, the weight of silence between words. These are shareable discoveries. People like to be the friend who says, "Watch this again, look at what he's doing with his posture," or "Listen to the change in tone. It's not accidental." Most importantly, craft transforms a celebrity conversation into an artistic conversation. It moves the debate away from fandom competition and towards performance analysis. That kind of shift creates longevity because artistry does not expire when a trend does. When a role becomes a case study in technique, the film stays alive in public discussion, quietly but stubbornly. Mr. Ye feels modern because he embodies a contradiction that contemporary audiences understand instinctively: the tension between capability and vulnerability. He is not presented as a hero in the obvious sense, nor as a villain in the comfortable sense. He is a person shaped by systems, pressure, and consequence, someone whose strength is inseparable from what it costs him. Modern life often requires people to perform composure. Many viewers across ages recognize the emotional discipline of showing nothing when you are carrying everything. Mr. Ye's restraint, therefore, reads less like coldness and more like survival. The character's silence becomes a shield, his control becomes a language, his smallest reactions carry the emotional weight that other films might express through speeches. That also makes him a profoundly watchable figure online. In the age of short clips and rewatches, the most replayed characters are not always the loudest. They are the ones who change meaning when you look again. Mr. Ye's face can read as calm in one viewing and devastated in another. A pause can look like patience, then like fear. A glance can signal loyalty, then signal doubt. This instability is precisely what people describe as depth. And then there is the ethical pressure at the center of the role. Duty against personal desire, ideology against intimacy, purpose against grief. Those conflicts do not feel dated. They feel like the permanent questions of adulthood, whether you are 18 or 75. Mr. Ye feels modern because he doesn't offer comfort. He offers recognition. So why does this nomination story matter? Because it signals something audiences have been craving, that influence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a film that trusts you to meet it halfway. A film that doesn't chase you, yet somehow follows you home. And for Wang Yibo, it also frames a narrative many people find inspiring. The shift from being seen as a star to being taken seriously as a screen actor with range and discipline. A transition that only happens when the work holds up under a second, third, and 10th look. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Nameless deserves to be called one of the most influential Chinese films of the 21st century? Or do you believe there are other titles that define the era more strongly? Drop your view in the comments and keep it respectful, because great cinema deserves great conversation. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please subscribe to StarWatch Now, give the video a like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story. Thanks for watching. take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next upload.